Coming out of a breakup, who do you think is the first person who's more likely to hook up? A guy or a girl?
A girl, no doubt.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, wait, why? I feel like it's men. I feel like men have more tendencies to like go fuck a new girl.
No.
I feel like girls are more emotionally involved and like, oh, I can't. I'm not ready.
I think yes, but they're also the first ones being invited on the yacht. They have all this accessibility, whereas like men need to set up the yacht versus like women just show up.
Right.
Men, there's a lot more planning involved. They have to get the girl. They have to go out for dinner. They have to hope they want to sleep with them. Whereas women, like realistically, you open your legs, a guy is going to fuck you. So like, I think realistically, realistically, because women have the power, they also get out of it. And like, you can be a 5 and you're going to get hit on. Whereas like men, they got to put in the work to get hit on.
Wow. Yeah, I actually really agree with that.
Did I just change your mind?
Chemical X.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Chemical X podcast. I'm your girl, Alessia.
I'm your girl, Veronica. Welcome back. And as usual, guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, leave us a comment down below, leave us 5 stars on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Do the work, okay? We've been here for a while now. You know, give us the reviews, give us the stars, give us the comments. You know, we deserve it.
Finally gonna let you know that we are working on some merch that's coming soon. So if you want to be in the loop, and you know, part of the slim amount of people who are going to get it because we're not releasing much, then you got to be following us.
You got to be following
because it's going to our followers first.
Absolutely. And guys, we're so excited because we've been working on this for a while. So we can't wait to release and show you guys what we've been working on because it's really fucking cute. So
I'm just pissed. I want to be wearing it right now. And it's like, I can't.
You can't.
So it's like, we need to release because I can't be hiding my baby anymore. Babies. Wink.
So guys, stay tuned because it's coming really soon. Hopefully not sooner than your man, but that was the worst joke I ever made. Anyways, we're gonna ignore that ever happened. But yes, it's coming soon.
Okay.
To a theater near you, and follow us to keep in the know, to be in the know, as you know my mom would say, be in the know.
That was the most mom joke.
100%. Be in the know. Okay. A mom joke. I love when like parents say like something that they think is so, oh my God, what would my mom say the other day? She said, oh no, my stepdad's like, yeah, I got some new swag. I was like, swag? And he's like, yeah, you don't know what that means? I was like, no, I know what it means.
You know what it is.
Do you know what it is? He was like, yeah, like cool new stuff.
Oh
and I was
God.
like, it's not a cool word to use anymore.
That's so funny because I went up north the other week and I was playing this game that's Gen Z versus baby boomers. So
Okay.
basically we have to ask them Gen Z questions and they ask us baby boom questions. And it's just like the game is not fair because technically we're not alive. So we can't know any of the things that we weren't alive for. But then it's them. It's like, oh yeah, I remember when you were a kid. So it's like that game doesn't make sense because you have the advantage. Like we weren't alive. You were alive. It's not like we said, okay, freeze your body. Yeah. You weren't around for this time. Like, let's see who's better. It's like, no.
I want to be like when you're older. I want to be I want to be the parent that, because you know what okay, can I pick a sentence? Can I pick a thought? There's always like the 2 different types of cool parents. It's like the type of parent that's like so cool, but their kids hate them because they're like too much trying to be like in the know.
Like it's embarrassing
like it's
for them when they're
like,
young.
Mom, stop wearing skinny jeans. Like be a mom, you know?
Yeah.
Like stop with the crop tops.
Like all the kids saying your mom's hot is like embarrassing.
But like I don't give a fuck. Like I want to be. I don't ever want to be out of the loop. Like I don't ever want to be like face chat. Like what is that? Like I don't want to be. I want to be no. I'm gonna be the nana with an Instagram or whatever the fuck is out there. You want to be the
Kim Kardashian.
I want to be in the know. I want to know what's up. I want to know what the kids are doing these days, but I want to be doing it too.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be the type of person that you could tell they don't really know what they're doing, but they're just like trying to be into it. No, I want to know what I'm doing.
You want to teach them.
I want to be like,
I think you will
I'm one
be,
of the
though.
cool ones.
I think you will be.
Like sometimes I see like these grandparents on TikTok and I'm like, I love you though. Like you're good. But then there's other grandparents on TikTok that you could just tell they're trying to figure it out. It's like, nah, you're not good.
Yeah.
You know, I want to be the other one. I want to be like the cool one.
Got it.
You know? I always wonder like, what are we going to be like as grandparents?
I want to wonder what I'm going to be like as a mom first. Actually, I just want to
no.
wonder what I am tomorrow. If that's
I am
okay.
right now, actually.
Can I just know who I am right now?
But it's like, if you think about it, our grandparents' generation was literally like the fucking war. Like, they had no time to do the shits and giggles shit that we do now. Like, we have way too much time on our hands. I'm not gonna lie. Like, somebody make a war. But anyway,
As two white girls on the podcast, we have way too much time on our hands.
but I'm saying, like, I feel like, you know, in their time, there wasn't that much trouble you could really get yourself into. Whereas I feel like now everybody has so many crazy stories that they've done. Like, we're gonna be the coolest grandparents ever.
Yeah, we will.
You know, like, we have no choice but to be.
I mean,
hip
like,
as
we
fuck.
think that, but then the amount of things that are going to change,
Yeah.
then I think we're going to think we're cool, but we're out of the loop.
My nana probably thought she was gonna be the sickest. She's gonna be fucking so cool. Now she's here like a nose piercing. They have nose piercings nowadays. They do red hair.
Anyway, guys, we know how to get off topic. But we came up with more questions because that's what we do on the podcast now. We just come up with questions and then debate them out. And these ones are actually really interesting. And I'm so down to just get down and dirty.
Well, Ella, if you're gonna give me a compliment, you should also say that I came up with the questions. If you're gonna say that they're really good, they're really
Guys,
interesting.
Veronica came up with the questions.
Thank you.
Every
I need
time
my
she
credit.
like reads them and we're going to debate it, we're like, stop. We need to do this on
Yeah.
the podcast. Like, stop talking.
There's so many.
Because then I'm
things.
like changing your mind on certain
Yeah.
things. And I'm like, no. I don't want to do this.
We always do that, guys. We'll have a conversation, and 90% of the time we talk about business. But then it's like we'll talk about a topic, and then we're like, okay, enough.
Well,
we don't
you
get to
really
talk
make
about
our
this until-
friendship sound like that went out the window. 90% of the time when we talk, you talk about business. I'm like, wow. Can I get Veronica back?
I am. I'm your business partner.
Oh, God.
It is what it is, no? I feel like if you're gonna do business with a friend, you have to be majority business partners versus majority friends. You're like, wait, what the fuck? Are we not friends? I don't know what I'm saying, but do you kind of get what I mean? No, because I'm.
No, yeah, I do. I do.
I don't know how to explain it.
I
Probably,
get
but
it.
I feel like you need to be like 51%.
I think what you're trying to say is, I think
49%.
you just have to
friend.
have the same like mindset more than like business partner.
But I also think like if you're too like chummy, like then it's like you're gonna be like, hey, like we're actually filming. Like if you don't mind, like actually showing up. Like
That's
hey,
true.
You know what I mean? Like I feel like, you know, you have to get to the point where it's like we're actually business associates.
Okay, so how do we
colleagues.
distinguish the two?
Well, you're renting out my apartment right now, so if you don't mind just sending me the e-transfer because we're not friends during this moment. So I'll just deduct it from your pay actually, since I take care of the financials. This whole episode I've been winking. And
By
it's
the
not-
way,
it's not a wink. It's not a
please
wink.
tell me why Veronica's taking care of financials. That is the biggest joke.
Well, speaking of financials, guys, I was
Guys,
missing
we
a-
don't know what the fuck we're doing.
I was missing a couple of calls from my bank, and I was like, that's weird. Like, my bank usually doesn't call me, you know? But, like, I knew it was my bank because, you know, it showed up as RBC. And I was like, for sure, they're just trying to sell me something. No, they kept calling. So I was like, okay, must be important. I'm like, maybe my card is frauded, you know, like maybe I should answer. So anyway, so I get a call from the bank and she was like, hey, just wondering if you're planning on paying your credit card. And I was like, sorry?
You're
And
like,
she was
hey, girly,
I'm like,
actually, I think I want my business partner back.
I was like, babe, stop. I mean, yeah. I mean, what do you mean? And she was like, oh, well, it's just like, you know, just wondering if you're going to be putting through a payment. Like, would it be today or tomorrow? I was like, okay, whoa. First of all, I've never had anyone ask me to pay my credit card before. Usually I do this on a, you know, when I feel like it basis. I didn't know we were keeping receipts. I didn't know you were, you know, keeping me accountable.
Well,
here.
now you have to pay it because you're like, I'm getting another phone call from a girl.
Well,
It's embarrassing.
It's
I see
embarrassing.
what they're doing there.
And then she told me an amount, and then I thought it was a scammer because I said, "There's no way my credit card's at $300." She goes, "No, that's the minimum payment." I was like, "Yes, you're so correct. You're so right." And then she's like, "So are you planning on paying that today, or you know, and are you planning on doing the full amount or the just the minimum payment?" And I was like, I'm gonna cover, you know, I'm gonna cover the minimum payment. And she, no, at the time I had even said like, no, like don't worry, like I'll take care of it. And she's like, no problem. I'm just gonna note that down right here that you will be. I was like, okay, guys, whoa. She was making it sound like I haven't paid my credit card in a year when I literally it's been a month. Like I was like, can you chill? Like, I don't know what sparked these calls. And I feel like someone in the comments is going to tell me what's sparking these calls. sometimes people, they just don't understand social cues. No matter how much we say, it's very important that somebody understands social cues. Sometimes you just gotta, write it on your phone case, because it's like, bitch, don't talk to me. Like, I'm already making it seem like I don't want to talk to you. Just read the phone case.
If you don't have the AirPods, then a phone case will do. A phone
will
case
do.
that says do not disturb.
100%, And guys, when you want a cute phone case and when you want cute jewelry, where are you going to go?
Every Jewels.
Well, duh, because they have literally everything you're looking for. And it's affordable jewelry, which I love, because there's so many fun trends that you want to take part in, but then you get to check out and it's $400. But it's affordable. They have super cute things, rings, necklaces, name necklaces, birth date necklaces.
I love the heart ring I'm wearing now, actually. It's like gold and silver mixed. It's so cute.
Yeah, really cute. I also have Rich Bitch to let him know, until he wants to split the bill. Then suddenly I'm quickly taking this off my finger. So anyways, guys, go check out Every Jewels and use our discount code
Chemical X at checkout to receive 20% off your entire order. So, guys, start shopping.
Like, actually, I work at RBC. We checked your file, and you're red flagged. It's actually been a little more than a month,
why we're calling
sweetie.
you.
Nobody gets a call after 1 month, no pay. So anyway, so she's like, yeah, I'm just gonna note that down here. I was like,
Veronica,
tell me I'm hanging up just so I can pay my card. I'm so afraid they're gonna close my account. So anyways, I go to pay my more than minimum percent, and I open my bank account. I'm like, looks like we're gonna be paying the minimum amount on the credit card today. Maybe next week we'll pay a little more.
There's something about going into your account. It's like, regardless, there has never been once in my life where I was like, I'm gonna go into my account and there's gonna be more than what I thought there was. There was never once in my life where I was like, oh wow, I actually have more than what I thought. Never once in my life. I've always went in with the idea that it was gonna be higher, and it's always like, wait, what? Then I gotta go through the charges, and I'm like, oh yeah, that was me. You really don't feel it when you have a card. It's crazy.
I mean, for me, Apple Pay ruined my life. That's number one.
Yeah.
Because you think Apple's paying, they're not. My thing is, like, there is sometimes where I go in and I'm like, damn, like, I didn't know. And then I'm like, oh fuck, it's the 28th of the month and my rent is due in 2 days and this amount is gonna be cut in half, so like no stress. Like every time I'm like, okay, nice, like I can work with this. It's like, oh wait, the rent is coming up and I'm actually here to pay a bill. So
anyway, guys, we're so sorry to to make you have to listen to what every single girl
watch our ads
goes through. What?
I said, please watch our ads. I just want to pay my card. Make RBC stop calling me.
Anyway, you want to pop up those questions since you came up with them?
Anyways, so aside from financials,
kitty drink down and get started.
Well, I've sipped it all up already, so I'm thirsty. So I had a question for you.
Here we go. Well, we've established what the dynamic here is. Veronica asks me the questions. She doesn't like my response. She takes back the question she asked me and says, how about I tell you what I think? And then I just disagree with her. And then we move on.
I mean, yeah, that's fair. That's me. Yep. That's actually my toxic trait. My toxic trait is like I ask someone's opinion. Well, I ask someone's opinion and then they don't agree with me. And I'm like, well, here's why you should agree with me. And here's why we're not going to close the conversation until you actually do agree with me. And I was actually only answering so you could agree with me. So
yeah. And my thing is like when someone's trying to make me agree, it's like I see what you're doing and I'm not gonna agree with you.
Even if I agree with you, I'm still not agreeing with you.
You're like, yeah, but. So let's dive into
those. So first of all, we can never just make this happy-go-lucky. We always have to bring the men into this,
I mean, yeah, they ruin our lives. Why not?
Here we go. So, oops. I have three.
Shut up and start with the first one. This is not deal or no deal.
It's deal or no
three
deal.
Suitcases.
I feel like I'm gonna do like the first question is.
Yeah, like
pass me the envelope.
Can you be a regular host for once?
I'm trying. I could. So the first question is, who do you think settles more in a relationship, men or woman? What do you think?
Women.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, why?
Because women have a biological clock.
Okay.
So I feel like when they start getting in their late 20s, they start kind of settling a little bit more. they might have been a little bit more picky and wanting certain things, but then they meet someone and he doesn't have all the things that they wanted, but they're kind of like, okay, well, fuck, I'm running out of time. Women don't age like fine wine like men. So there's a lot more, they just want that security. So I feel like they would settle a little bit more. Whereas men only get better with age, better looking, more
Don't
money.
have a time clock.
Don't have a time clock. They know that women like them better when they're older anyways. So yeah, locking in my answer with women settle more.
I agree with all the points that you just...
Here we go.
I agree with all the points that you just brought up because it's really true. I think women do have the pressure of like the biological clock. But I will say that I think women have a lot more options than men do. So that's why I feel like men tend
That's
to
exactly
settle.
why they settle more. Because they have so many options and we live in a world where there's so many options. They don't know how to pick that. At a point, they just end up feeling like, okay, well, I'm just going to settle. Because sometimes when you have more options, it's worse.
But I think
Then you
like,
really end up settling.
maybe, but I also think like as a guy, they're always going to somewhat settle. Okay, well, not always, but I feel like for the most part, most men can't get the girl that they really want. So they're just going to get the girl that they can get and therefore makes them settle. Not that she's not a great girl, but like I feel like men also have like higher standards for women. Okay, well, actually not.
No.
But I feel like their ideal girl is like this really high standard, 10 out of 10 model, yada, yada, yada. But like that's not usually the girl that they end up with. But I also think they
Why
have less
not?
options. I mean, for the most part, like I just think women always have options. As a girl, you
Yeah.
can even be like an average looking girl. You're always going to have options. You're always going to be having people pursuing
That's why I
you.
think they settle more.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I
because
think
they
of it
always
as
think
a guy.
better is out there, and then they start coming to a point where they're just like, "Fuck, I better settle because like my time's coming." And I feel like men put that pressure where it's like, "Oof." After a certain amount of time, like a girl is no longer like worthy,
Mm-hmm.
so it's like women start feeling like they need to settle.
I think it's like women settle more.
But I agree with you too.
Yeah. Like I think women settle more when they talk about time clock.
Talk about settling.
Talk about having a baby. So I think women settle more in like once they start hitting the age of needing to have a baby or like the biological, timeline. But I think in general, men tend to settle more just because of just because of the reality that they don't have as many options. So when there is like a girl that's like decent enough that comes around, they're just like, okay, well, I'm just gonna date her because I can't get anybody else. Whereas like a girl, we know like we have a roster and we could just be like, okay, I'm gonna choose him. Like I'll settle with him, but I have options.
Yeah.
Like, I still have options of who I'm gonna settle with. Whereas a guy is more so like, this is the girl that I could get, so like I'm gonna stick around.
For sure, but I also think it has to do with like the kind of guy you are. Have you
Right.
been like working on your business your whole entire life and now it's like you can get any girl you want? Or are you just like an average Joe? Then yeah, maybe you are settling and you're not going for the actual girl you want, but it's also because you can't get her.
Right.
Whereas like women don't need to have that. Women don't have that pressure of like having to have that specific job in order to get what they want.
Right. Like a girl.
Like a hot girl passes through that without having the security.
Right. But I also feel like a decent looking girl can still get
No.
for example, like I feel like
I'll tell you no, because men who work their ass off to get to where they want to get to and they want to be rich so that they can get that supermodel, they're almost doing it and spending their whole life to make money so that they can get that 10. So, which kind of makes sense. If you're working your whole entire life to be that rich guy, why would you settle for the 5 or the 7? You're not. You spend all that time grinding, so you're not happy with the 5-7. You spend all that time grinding for the 10.
I know.
So that's where it gets difficult. People need to be realistic of like where they fall on the ladder a little bit.
But I mean,
Deep
I think
to say, but like
it depends your motive for making money, obviously, too. Like, I think a guy who wants to make
For
money for the
sure.
status and to get the girls 100%.
But I think
he's
girls-
not settling for anything less than a 10. But I still think like a girl who's like an average looking girl or like just an average girl in general still can get like a higher, a guy, like a settled guy, like a good guy. Whereas a guy who's just very average might not be able to get like a girl that's better than him in a way. Like, I feel like they just need to settle for what they can get. Because I think guys have a lot more trouble getting a girlfriend than a girl does. Like a girl, if she wants to have, like realistically, you want to have a boyfriend, tomorrow you could just decide that you want to have a boyfriend and you could choose somebody, example, settle, you know? Whereas a guy really needs to like get the girl.
Really? You
Work
don't feel,
for the girl.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Because as a woman, we have, in a sense, like as a guy, you need to have a lot more in the sense of like a good job, money, status, whatever it is that we're looking for in terms of security. Like we're looking for somebody that's like going to provide, you know, like a lifestyle
and that
we
card
want.
is always on the table, regardless of if you are now dating. Like that's the thing. It's like a guy, if they settle with you, then they're with you, then they're able to write it out. But
Right.
the girl, there's always still like, okay, but
Right.
are you doing this for me? Are you providing? Like they still need to feel secure. Whereas like you're still not safe as a girl.
But that's why I feel like
No, as a guy, sorry.
that's why I feel like men settle more, because like you said, you get into a relationship and you're in that relationship and you're like, okay, well, I'm with this girl now, like we're gonna ride it out and like that's my girl. Whereas I feel like a girl, she'll like get into a relationship with you and then be like, and she'll like love you, and like some people say like women love, example, conditionally, which to a certain extent is true. I feel like we do put a lot of standards in saying like, okay, well, you still need to be able to provide for me financially, you still need to be doing all the things that you were doing, and like, or else I'm not going to love you anymore and I'm just going to go find somebody else that does do those things, which is fair, because I think like both sides of the relationship, we have certain things that we expect of the other. Like in the same way where it's like, let's say men like want sex, like when you stop giving that, they're gonna be like, okay, well, I'm just gonna go find it somewhere else, you know what I mean? So like I think in both aspects there's conditions, but it is true that I find like women are very much so like, you need to still be doing what I got with you for.
I think
else,
at the end, at the end of the day, like girls kind of control it. Like they're the ones with the pussy. Like we're the ones like saying, yes, we can fuck, or no, you're not getting fucked.
Right.
Guys are not going to say no. So I think, that makes sense. In that case, if a girl is able to control whether or not you're fucking, then they're able to control whether they're dating you or not. Like they're still kind of more in control.
There's more control, even though you might be settling for
right
different
before
reasons.
the vagina's given, then men are in control, I think.
Yeah.
I think that's fair to say. Once you give it in, then I feel like men have a little bit more of the power. Makes sense.
I mean, in what sense?
Like I feel like then they're kind of in control. Then it's like they'll choose if they want to date you or not.
Like after you sleep with them.
Yeah. Because women, if we're getting to the point where we're sleeping with you, it's because emotionally we're like, okay, we're giving ourselves to them because we actually see it.
Right.
Whereas men, they'll fuck anything. I mean, not anything, but you know what I mean? So, yeah.
I get what you're saying, like, but I think it also changes. It's like at the beginning where you're like first dating somebody, I feel like the girl does have the power, and like,
but you
it's
don't,
really the point where like
you
the
have
guy
the
has
power
to prove
until
themselves,
you sleep with them,
and then you sleep with them, and then the guy kind of takes the power back a bit.
Yeah.
And then I feel like once you get into a relationship, then the girl has the power again, because you always have to. I think men deal with a lot of like knowing that there's so many options for women, knowing that women have so many options, knowing that, you know, your girl could leave you and find another guy tomorrow, or could be easily, like, I feel like men's biggest fear is that your girl is going to go out and she's going to find a richer guy than you who's going to provide her more, and she's just going to forget about you. Like, I think that's a guy's fear. And like, I feel like for women, we're afraid.
That's
like
our kind of fear too, though. It's like you're providing us with the security and everything, and now it's like you're not in a rush now to have kids, to have all this stuff. So it's like even when you kind of lock us down, it's like we still kind of feel like we need them a little bit more because they don't have that biological clock.
Right.
So it's really like,
Yeah.
and also like girls will start to feel like, oh my God, well, he has all this money, he could kind of do whatever he wants. Yeah, as much as like he has it and it's for both of you, it's still in a way
Yeah. I mean, in that
a little bit
situation,
more
for
in
sure.
his control.
But I think in just like a general situation where you're not dating like a rich guy, or it's just like a normal relationship, like I think there's like, I think guys are very afraid of like their girl going out and finding somebody who makes more money or can like provide for them more and stuff. Like, I feel like that's the fear when it comes to girls going out. They're always afraid their girl's gonna get like wooed by another guy. Whereas I feel like men were more worried about like, oh, he's gonna find a prettier girl. But I feel like men tend to just like stay with their girl. Like, they got their girl, they have a girlfriend, so already for them, they're like, okay, well, this girl wants me. So I feel like it's a bit difficult, because I feel like as a woman, you know, if you're like decent looking enough, and there will be people that will pursue you, and if you want something, like there's a chance that like the chances are higher that you could get that person than the same equation for the guy. So like as a guy, yeah, you could be like, oh wow, like she's hot, whatever. But in the back of your mind, you know you can't get her anyways. Whereas a girl,
I sometimes
it's more
feel like
so the feeling like we feel like we can get.
Right. We feel like we can get, but then we also fear the idea of like, are they just trying to sleep with us? Or are we able to get into a relationship with them? I think like, because guys will also tell us what we want to hear before we give it up. That's why I feel like men kind of have the control afterwards, because it's like everything they say before that, technically, yeah, we're in power, but I don't know. I feel like it's hard for a girl to get in a relationship too, because sometimes it's like we feel like when we give men what they want, is that all they want?
Well, that's actually true, because I think the girls who do get swayed, so like go out, meet a richer guy and end up leaving their boyfriends and then go for that guy, I'm telling you,
they
like
always
9
go
times out of
back.
10, well, not that they go back, but it just doesn't work out because they realize that the guy was promising them all this stuff and it seemed so great when they were in a relationship.
Seems so lavish.
But now they get with that guy and he's actually not what he says he was, or he's not at all like the type of person you want, and you actually just got like, you got wooed, you got advertised to, and you bought into it, you know? And I think a lot of girls do that, and that's why, you know, I would say like, that's why I would never, like as a guy, I would never want to be with somebody who's so easily swayed by how somebody appears, because those are the same people who are like so attracted to like all appearances, and then they'll leave you and realize like, fuck, it's actually not what I thought it was, you know? Because I think a lot of that is smoke and mirrors. It's a lot of like perceiving to have all this money, perceiving to be able to take care of you, all these promises. And it makes you feel like, oh my God, this is so crazy. Like, I'm going to leave my boyfriend. This is what I've been waiting for. This is a better life. This is what I wanted. This is what I need. This is what I deserve. I feel like a lot of women put that in their mind. Like, this is what I deserve. And then they go after and they realize, like, oh my God, this is not what I thought it was. This is fake. It's all, you know, it's literally an illusion.
Yeah.
So like, it's really tough, you know?
It is.
And I think a lot of women do that actually. Not a lot, but I definitely think it's like there's the fear for a reason that guys are afraid girls are going to get swayed, you know?
Yeah.
You know?
Because guys will literally tell you anything when they want you. They're not even thinking straight. They're just like, I'll show you the world. I'll tell you anything you want to know.
Yeah. So guys, it's been 2 years we've been hustling you to make sure your bush is shaved. And now we're going to add a little thing to your to-do list, and it's to make sure that your beard is clean. Because as much as we don't want to be flossing our teeth when we're going down on you, we also don't want to be getting a mouthful of hair when we're kissing you. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and if we're feeling that way before even going down on you, the chances of us going down on you are just
A lot slimmer.
yeah.
And since Manscaped just released the new Beard Hedger Kit, you actually have no more excuses, because it literally comes with everything from beard conditioner, beard oil, cool little beard brush. Like, I was opening it all, I was like, I low-key kind of want to use this however I can. Like, I don't even know. But don't sleep on it, because it's super cool. And if you don't have a beard, because maybe, you know, I don't know, you weren't one of the lucky men that got to grow a beard, you can always shave your bush, you know, because everybody has one of those.
And I mean, guys, like, you can go on the website and get a variety of things. So, you know, just keep adding to cart, add a couple more. There's always gifts that need to be given. And that's a perfect gift for a guy, a boyfriend, a sugar daddy, literally anyone. So use our discount code ChemicalX at checkout. Just maybe don't tell them you're using that discount code, because then they're going to be like, who are these two girls? But use our discount code ChemicalX at checkout for 20% off and free shipping.
The crazy part is, a lot of the times when they're in that mode of like telling you what you want to hear, I feel like they're also doing it. Like, that's the problem, is like, men are so good at getting what they want that they'll actually love bombing, like we spoke about a couple of episodes ago. They'll actually do the actions to like convince you that they are this like romantic guy, that they are this lavish
I don't
spoiler.
think it's a love bomb thing. I think it's actually generally how they feel at that point too.
I don't.
I think sometimes, yeah, they don't know how they feel about you also until they kind of sleep with you and until they spend more time. So at the beginning, it's like they're gaga Google also because they're like intrigued by you too. So it's like, it's hard to decipher the difference between love bombing sometimes and then generally just being like, this is a hot new thing, I'm into it. And it's just like, it falls under the category love bomb, but it's just like after time you realize that no, you slept with her, like she maybe doesn't have the same values as me, and then they're over it.
Yeah, but somebody who's like emotionally intelligent won't do all this extravagant things to try and convince you
Yeah.
if it's just like genuinely like infatuation, like so exciting. Because for sure girls are like that too, you know, like you do things at the beginning, you're like, oh, like I don't want this to be love bombing, but it seems like you're doing the most, but it's just genuinely how you feel. Whereas I think there's a difference between somebody who's like, for example, a guy who will like send you flowers every day, surprise you with stuff, buy you a gift, do all this stuff to like convince you to choose him, to be with him. Or there'll be those guys that are like begging for a date, they'll do anything for a date, they'll bring you to the best restaurant, you'll show up and they'll have a gift for you, all this stuff. And it's like, let's say you actually, let's say half the time you end up with that guy, all that disappears when you actually get into a relationship with him, because like, okay, I did what I did to convince you to date me. Now it's like, it's done, you know? And I've seen that happen so many times with people who they get wooed in, and like with all like the smoke and mirrors, like they get you everything you want, they treat you how you want to be treated, and then you actually get into a relationship with them, and now that they have you, like they actually have you, it's like, okay, all the effort is gone. Like none of what they were doing in the beginning to sway you and to woo you ever continues, you know?
Yeah. I think that goes for guy or girl. It's like when you're first talking to a guy, you just don't want to do the most for them, because if you're doing already all that at the beginning, it's like, what are you expecting next month and the month after that? That's why I think, yeah, for sure, when you gradually get into a relationship and you do it kind of a bit more slow, and you give someone or even if it's like a girl, you know, you're like, I'm finally seeing my guy, like, oh my God, like I want to cook for him. It's like you should never really cook for a guy at the beginning until they deserve that. Like it's levels. They need to work their way there. If you're doing the most at the beginning, then I don't know. Like I feel like guys subconsciously respect a girl who respects themselves enough to not do the lingerie and all the fun stuff and all the kinky stuff at the beginning, and really makes them work for it.
Yeah. And I think it's good too, and it's a healthy thing to do, because you want to leave some stuff for later.
Yeah.
But I also think
if you give all your tricks at the beginning, then there's nothing to look forward to.
But I do think men love bomb more than women, because in the dating stage, it's in a way the man's job to impress the girl, to do all this stuff that's going to sway her and to woo her. And they're going to do the most, you know, they're going to show up with the flowers. They're going to bring you to the nice restaurants, because this is the time to convince you. And I feel like in this stage, the girl is a little bit more like in her submissive and like allowing, like, show me what you could do. Show me what you could provide me. So I feel like because the guy has so much pressure to do the most, he does the most. But then sometimes you do it to the level where you're not going to be able to uphold that within the relationship. And that's where it becomes tricky, because you're essentially promising a dream and not following through.
You're just on the date going, okay, let's see what he does, what tricks he has up his sleeve. Like men have a lot more pressure to kind of.
It's tricky because we're like, show us what you could do, but also don't show us too much and promise too much, because then we're going to be like love bomber.
Yeah.
You know? So it's really tricky. It's definitely tricky.
But I also think when you do that, like, I don't know, I've always been into people who were giving me a little bit of like mystery vibes. Like when you do the most at the beginning, I almost think it's like a red flag.
Yeah. Well,
like there's nothing hotter than mystery. A little bit. Let me leave going, I want to know more. Like, okay, like, I don't know.
I'm so like a curious person, and like I'm the worst with that.
And
like,
I want
to know
all the
everything.
questions.
Oh yeah, I'll kill you to tell me everything. I'll ask you everything I want to know. I'm constantly
but girls will
like
always challenge you.
But like I'm so curious, and like I'll be at the beginning of a relationship, like, you know, very like trying to find out everything. And, you know, in the past it's been like, you know, finding out everything. And then it's like, I think for me, finding out things gives me some sort of power. Like the kind of the strategy and a way of doing that, because it really kept me interested and it made me always learning new things.
Yeah. And I think
I'm somebody who needs to be stimulated all the time.
Yeah.
So.
And I think that's why men get a little bit scared all the time, is they think they have to put everything on the plate, because they're like, who knows if I'm getting a second date?
Yeah.
You know, they're like, I got to put all my cards on the table, because this is my one time to just prove myself.
Right.
Where it's like, actually women, I think, appreciate when it's like, you want to leave, you want to talk to your friends will ask you questions, and you have to be like, I'm actually not sure. I don't know fully that. I don't know. So it's like, wait, why don't I know that?
And that's,
you know, because like I asked, like, why do I fully not know? Okay, sometimes it's like sketch, you're maybe dating a gangster. It's just the best feeling when you're just like cracking someone's shells as you go.
I mean, I think that's what I found the most attractive is you really have to be a confident person to not feel the pressure to prove yourself. And I think that's what's so attractive. It's like, you know, you're a catch, you know, you're a good person, you know, you have so much value that you don't even need to sell me on it, because any other guy would be showing his strongest suits right at the beginning. You know, like I feel like that's the mistake a lot of people do, is they try to come in with all their party tricks, you know?
Yeah.
But in reality, you know, when you're confident and you know who you are, you don't even need to do that. And I think that's so attractive because, you know, finding out certain things, I'm like, wow, if I would have known this at the beginning, like I would have been way more like into it, or I would have been like even more quickly like, you know, like interested in you.
But the risk of him doing that, and what men think, is that I'm gonna lose my chance of ever getting a second date because I'm not putting all my cards on the table. And it's like, that's where it's so mistaken, because the less cards you put on the table at the beginning and the more mystery you keep, the more exciting it is, and the more there's to look forward to, and the more we're just like trying to get any piece of juice we can.
And it's so true. Like, I think it's so mistaken. It's so like misjudged that people think they need to impress so hard on the first date. But I think really true confidence and truly knowing your worth, you don't go in showing all your cards. You go in like cool, calm, collected. And it's like, if you want to go on a second date, like I'll allow it, but like I'm not forcing anything, because in a way it's kind of desperate. It's desperate in a way to be showing all your tricks at the beginning because you're so worried about not getting that second date.
And it also just seems like you're not confident enough in who you are.
Exactly.
And I think we were talking about this even before, is that I don't think men even realize how much women test men. Like, we will always challenge men and ask them things. Even if we're not ready for it, we will try. We will literally do anything in our powers to get any answers we want. And we're going to challenge you. We're going to trick you too.
Yeah.
We're going to try and play games with you and see like if you're going to bite.
Well, it's so true. And I catch myself doing it sometimes too. And you don't even realize you're doing it. I think as a woman, you'll just challenge somebody. And I think one thing that I do a lot, and I've personally caught myself doing, is I'll try to like, and I don't mean it in like walk all over somebody, but I'll try to take advantage of a situation where, like, let's say I'm pissed about something and I'm like complaining about something and I'm like kind of getting away with it, and like kind of getting away with like the complaints and like ripping on them. And I think, you know, when somebody just puts their foot down and they're like, you could be mad if you want, but like, I didn't do anything wrong. You just admitted that I didn't do anything wrong. So if you want to be mad, you could be mad if you want. And like, I think just like the ability to put your foot down and not let somebody walk all over you when they have no reason to is showing like, holy shit, you know? And I think women, we do that all the time. We always test to see if we could take advantage of you, if we can walk on you all over you. Like if you're in a sense like weak, you know?
Yeah. And then that puts you in your feminine energy again. Cause it's like, you're trying to be like, you know, and then it's like, no, like you're going to stay right where you are. Like,
exactly.
You're not going to do that. And it's even the same thing with like, you know, you're dating someone, you love the fact that they work out, they go to the gym, it's all the things you fell in love with, and then it's like you're cuddling in bed and you're like, don't go to the gym. But it's like, then you don't go to the gym, and then we start not respecting you for like not taking care of your body.
Exactly.
So it's like, as much as women will test you and want something maybe for the moment, down the line, we actually are testing you and we don't respect you if you actually do that. Like, we want you to get up and be like, no, I'm going to the gym.
And the problem is, we truly believe we don't want you to go to the gym. In that moment, we really believe we don't want you to leave.
We don't want you to leave.
But then you leave.
But then when you leave and we go,
okay.
Wow. Yeah, no, I can't step all over you.
Yeah.
Wow. Like, I'm actually like, I'm going to be in my feminine energy because I tried.
Yeah.
It's just subconsciously we do it.
It's subconscious, and it's fucked up. It's actually fucked up, but it's subconscious and we do it. And like, it's definitely tough being a guy navigating that, because it's like, how do you know what somebody really wants? Because like I said, we truly want it in that moment, but we don't realize that we're trying to take advantage of a situation. And if you succumb to it, we're gonna maybe not even realize, but we're gonna like, okay, like you let me control you in a way, you know?
Yeah, and then we just like,
it's the same thing when
we're less turned on by you after if you allow us to do that. So you really have to like
keep your foot down.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like we were saying, it's like when we were talking about, you know, when guys call off work for us, the whole scandal, the whole controversy. God. But the point was like, if I would be like, oh, baby, don't go to work. And like, he actually doesn't go to work. It's like, what the fuck? Like, you let me convince you not to go to work. Like,
that's
you know what I mean?
Like,
but the reality is, in that moment, you really want them to not go. But
but you still really want them to do things for themselves
Yeah.
and to not allow you to dictate like their feelings and emotions and what they have to do. Like you
Right.
want them to have a backbone and be like, we got into this relationship, like you always knew this is what I was doing.
Yeah.
This is what you were doing. Like, don't try and convince me out of things that you fell in love with me for.
Right.
You know?
And the problem is a lot of girls will be like, oh, you're never home. You're always working, la, 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 and complaining about that shit. But I promise you, those same people who complain would probably respect their man less if he was always not going to work or not working as hard or not doing those things. And I think, yes, there's different circumstances where like, okay, when somebody's literally never home and always working, look, absolutely, like it's fucked up. But I think if you're always complaining that like somebody is putting in the extra work to get themselves to a certain place and you're complaining about that, when it's probably the thing that got you there in the first place, I think that's like something you need to look in on yourself. And I feel like a lot of women do that, you know?
Yeah, I was listening to Jay Shetty's podcast and he was saying, you know, one thing I couldn't stand about my wife when we were dating is that when I fell in love with her, I loved the fact that she was so spontaneous. And then as they got into marriage and stuff, he would get so annoyed. She would be so late to things. And but then when he took a step back and he thought, okay, like, why did I fall in love with her? Like, it was because she was spontaneous. So you have to also understand, like, the thing you fell in love with her for, the spontaneous, comes with normally being late or forgetful. So,
and that's the same thing. It's so true. Like the things you fall in love with like the qualities you love about somebody, there's probably usually like a counterpart that's like a con, you know, like
Yeah.
of that same quality.
but as long
It's like
as you're
somebody
able to like realize that, okay, well, if I didn't have a spontaneous girl, which is what I want and which I love.
Right. It's so true. And sometimes you need to think of that, you know, especially if there's something that's like not working in your relationship or like something's bothering you and you're like, why is this pissing me off so much? Sometimes I think about like, okay, well, the fact alone that we're fighting about this shows, let's say, you know, you're fighting about, I don't know, but something in the relationship, you know? And it's like, sometimes you have to look back and be like, okay, well, clearly you're a passionate person and clearly you love deeply. And that's something that I really loved about you. So like, I can't fault you for being sensitive and taking these things to heart because you are somebody with a big heart and you love deeply. You get what I'm saying? Like, that's
Yeah.
just kind of an example. Like we tend to be like, oh, I want somebody who's like
The
very
thing we
emotional.
fell in love with them for
Yeah.
is the thing that we're like ripping on them for,
Right.
when it's actually the thing that we fell in love with them.
Right.
So like, take the good with the bad. You know what I mean?
100%, you know?
Anyway, our next question.
We had 3, so okay. Second question of the day, and we're already at the end of the episode.
Yep.
Who is more likely to stay in an unhappy relationship, a guy or a girl?
Do you want to answer first this one?
I'll take the floor. I'll take the carpet.
Take the carpet.
I personally feel like a guy is more likely to stay in an unhappy relationship, similar to the reasons that I stated before, but mostly because as a guy, they know that they don't have as many options, and whatever they have now, they're like, okay, well, this is my girl. Like, this is like, I'm just going to make the best out of it. And I'm like going to ride through it because, you know, I'm with you and you chose me. And I know that I don't have anything else. Whereas a girl, I feel like they have so many options. And even throughout a relationship, I feel like women tend to, you know, especially towards the end of a relationship, they start being like, oh, like that guy could probably give me a better life. Or like, what about this guy? Or like they have so many options. So I feel like they're a lot more willing as soon as something's going wrong in their relationship to just be like, well, I could get this better somewhere else and leave, you know? Whereas a guy, even if things aren't working out, he tends to stay in the relationship, you know? I feel like for the most part, it's usually women that end relationships because we either are unhappy, they're not doing enough. And yeah, maybe we end them because the man is not pulling through with certain things, which I totally agree with.
Yeah.
But I do think women are more likely to step up to the plate and break it off because they know they have other options. Whereas a man will stay in an unhappy relationship, even though there's shit that's not going well. Maybe she's bad. Maybe you're doing something wrong. But you know that like you're not sure that you can find someone else. So you're just like, okay, well, I might as well stay.
I honestly totally agree with that because I think men take a little bit more time and they're a little bit more like, okay, like I think when they finally make the decision to settle down, they're kind of just like, this is my life. Like, I'm going to be with them. Whereas
Right.
I feel like women, we still in the back of our minds can be like, okay, well, what if?
I think for a girl, as soon as a man fucks up, they're like, okay, see ya. You know, we're going to go find someone else who could give it to us. And I think that's the other reason why women don't stay in unhappy relationships because like, you know, traditionally women go to men for what they can provide to them. So we really bank on men for what they could provide for us in that sense. So I think as a woman, you're looking at it in the sense of like, okay, well, if you're not providing to me what I'm coming in this relationship for, then I'll go somewhere else and get it. Whereas a man can be happy with a little bit less. They're just like happy to have a companion, happy to have a girl, happy to have whatever. And they're not expecting any like anything financial out of it or any security.
Yeah.
Which what women are looking for. And I think security is really important for a woman, you know? So if she's not getting that.
But then it's like, if security is really important to them, wouldn't they be scared to just leave and go and like risk going out on the territory again?
Yeah.
I think that's where it's like,
but I do think
I definitely know what you mean. Like, men can definitely survive on a lot less, and they're happier with I think when men decide to actually settle, they will ride it out. Whereas girls, it's you know, it's on the condition of you're providing me this. There's rules. And if you don't meet those expectations, then we start looking elsewhere. Whereas I feel like men have to be the providers in a way. So the second they actually decide to provide for that person, like they're gonna stay unhappy just
because they have her.
Yeah.
You know? And now brings me to my second question. Third question. Who's more likely? Coming out of a breakup, who do you think is the first person who's more likely to hook up right outside of a breakup? A guy or a girl? Like, who runs to hook up with somebody new after a breakup?
A girl, no doubt.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, wait, why? I feel like it's men. I feel like men have more tendencies to like go fuck a new girl.
No.
I feel like girls are more emotionally involved and like, oh, I can't. I'm not ready.
I think they say I can't, I'm not ready, but they're also the first ones being invited on the yacht. They have all this accessibility, whereas like men need to set up the yacht versus like women just show up.
Right.
So like they don't have to have men, there's a lot more planning involved. They have to get the girl, they have to go out for dinner, they have to hope they want to sleep with them. Whereas women, like realistically, you open your legs, a guy is gonna fuck you. So like I think realistically, because women have the power, they also get out of it, and like you can be a 5 and you're gonna get hit on. Whereas like men, they gotta put in the work to get hit on.
Wow. Yeah, I actually really agree with that.
Did I just change your mind? Yeah.
Well, I always had the idea that like men are more wanting to go hook up out of a breakup.
Men want to, but they have to put in a lot more work. Whereas women, you just fucking go to a club
And for a guy, realistically, it's like you're going to a club. I think for us girls, we think a lot that men go to clubs and they can get any girl they want. But the reality is actually most men go to clubs and are kind of just like chilling in the corner, like, and they're going like, hey, and the girl's going,
yeah,
you know. So I think we have this idea that that guys want to fuck any other girl, but the reality is like they can't necessarily just go fuck anyone they want, you know. So I do feel like maybe men want to fuck more out of a relationship. They'd be more likely to, but the chances of it happening is probably more so for the girls, especially because I feel like girls are very much on this, like, I'm single now. Let's, like you said, go to the yachts, go to Miami, go do all like the hot girl summer shit.
They just have a lot of accessibility.
Yeah.
Whereas like men, if you don't have the money or you don't have what women want, then it's a lot harder for you to get it.
Right.
Whereas like women, because we don't bang on the fact that we need the money, we're able to literally, you're a hot girl, you get invited to everything. So putting yourself, being in scenes where you have the opportunity to, I think, women will hook up first.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. But I do think that men detach like emotionally, like are more emotionally detached from a relationship. So like
Men
if they
want
could
to
break
more,
up, if
but
they
they
could break
don't
up and fuck a
actually-
girl the next day, they would, because they're not like, for them there's no emotional like there's no emotions attached to it. Whereas a woman will be like, oh my God, I can't like sleep with somebody. It's only been like a week. I'm single, you know. Like I feel like we have more so that emotional attachment.
Yeah, but it's like you said, men's worst fear is that his girl is gonna find someone richer, better looking. So like his fear of him leaving for something better is like the fear that another guy is gonna show his girl a better world. So it's like women just have that opportunity. We have so many opportunities to just literally do anything.
Right.
Whereas men, it's like you have to
put in the work.
Yeah,
I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. Yeah.
I got guys. Veronica and I agreed to something. Holy
that was
shit!
easy?
This is groundbreaking news. Veronica and Alessia agreeing on something,
On the first try.
but definitely men would want to.
Yeah. Like probably a good looking guy who has like a roster of girls would be able to sleep with somebody more quickly, you know?
Yeah, but then I feel like because women are more emotional, they still have to try a little
Yeah.
more.
I don't know.
I don't know. Let's try and think of it the other way.
I also think like a guy fresh out of a breakup, and this is gonna sound fucked up, but I feel like, well, for both actually, I feel like a guy fresh out of a breakup is just as valuable in a way as a girl fresh out of a breakup. Because like a girl who's just out of a relationship, it's like we've all been waiting for her to get back on the market,
Yeah.
you know? But it's kind of the same thing for a guy because as we've spoken about, girls love a guy who's taken. So I feel like when he's like just out of a breakup, he still has that like, he's like a fresh baby, you know, like he still has that like relationship juice all over him, but like he's single, you know, and like
Really? I would think it's more the opposite.
so like he's less valuable out of a
He's
relationship.
less valuable out of a relationship.
yes.
Women love the idea of like
Yes, but I
he's
feel
in a
like fresh
relationship, but
out.
like wow, that's my type. Like that's what I want.
No, I know, but that's why I'm saying
he
fresh out of
loses
the
his
relationship.
value actually when he's single.
I agree, but I'm saying fresh out of the relationship because it's like I just had a girlfriend yesterday.
The 2-month period, I guess.
That's what I'm saying. Like there's a period where it's like she's back on the market, like he was just in a relationship,
Right.
like he still like has that like rarity.
Yeah.
Whereas like when he's like too single, you're like, okay, nobody wants you. Why?
yeah. You're like, what problems do you have that you're single? Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Weird.
Now, after speaking about these 3 topics, you got out of a relationship. Looking back now, would you say you hooked up before your ex did? Like, let's put it into like actual example now. Because we say all this, but if I look back, it's like, actually, I did first.
Yeah.
So yeah, women, I had the opportunity. We broke up. I went to Mykonos. Like, I went to meet someone. So,
Well, how do you know for sure?
I mean, I know because I was still like ish talking to him right
Okay.
before I left. I
Right.
booked the flight when I was like, sorry,
Right.
bye, I'm leaving.
Right. For me,
It was the same thing, I think.
no, I didn't hook up with anybody for a while after I broke up. And I don't know for him actually, really. But I think for me, I guess it was just different. Like I don't know. It wasn't what I was looking for, but for sure, like if I wanted to, I could have.
Yeah.
But like I just
But
didn't.
that's just the thing.
Yeah. I feel like we say guys sleep with anybody, but they also have standards.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, like I know we say, but like I also feel like guys like to sleep with a girl they're physically attracted to.
It's so true.
I don't feel like I think as when you're younger, like young guys will sleep with girls just to say they fucked a girl. But as they get older, like I feel like it's a bit of like, you know, you want to sleep with somebody who you're attracted to, or else you're kind of like, okay, what am I doing? Like,
Yeah, maybe this is a toxic trait of mine and something I've been actually like realizing about myself. But I feel like in the past, if I met a guy who was like, well, no, like I don't just sleep with anyone. Like I have to be like, there needs to be all these things. I'd be like, oh my God, like it's kind of weird. Like, why are you a girl? And that would be like, I'd be like, what? Like I'm the girl, like I can be like that, but like as a guy, like no, you have to have the energy
Yeah.
that you don't care, you don't have an emotional attachment, like you can just fuck anyone. And I would find it almost weird to me if I would meet someone who would have like standards or not want to just sleep with anyone. And like now as I'm getting older, I'm like, no, it's actually nice to
Yeah.
find someone who's like, no, I don't want to just fuck anyone.
Right.
But that's like something I really need to unpack because it's
I think it's getting older though. Because like I said, when you're younger, we're used to guys sleeping with anyone because like that's what you do. It's the status thing. I can get any girl I want, blah, blah, blah. So then we think like, okay, guys need to have no standards. They just need to be willing to fuck you. So we keep that in our mind. And I feel like as men get older, they do get pickier and they're less willing to just sleep with anyone because they don't really need to anymore, you know? They're more like selective about it. And I think once you get a little older as a woman too, you're like, okay, well, why are all these guys having standards all of a sudden?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, why is it like picky?
And also, I think as a woman, you feel a little bit more appreciated when like a guy actually chooses that like you're his type. Because then it's like, wow, like he had all these options and like, why is he choosing me? Which is like a good sign, you know, that
Right.
he could have other options, but like you're more his type and all the reasons why, but it's actually nice.
Yeah.
You know? But I think I've battled that for a long time. I was like, that's weird.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I get it. It's like it's maybe not like the norm.
Yeah.
Or as common. So like you think like what the fuck?
Yeah, I think like, oh, you're just like too much feminine energy for me.
Right.
Like a guy is supposed to just be able to like detach emotional connections and just be able to like sleep with anything because it's a hot girl, you know? But then it's like, it's also nice to feel valued and nice to feel like, okay, like he could if he wanted to, but he actually has standards for himself.
Yeah. And I
Like
think
that's a good quality to have, Alessia.
Yeah.
Like, why are you battling that? Why is that a red flag for you? You know? And it's like,
it also
mirror
makes me,
yourself. Like, why is it a red flag?
It also makes me trust the person more too, knowing that, because
Yeah.
you know that they're not so swayed just by looks. Like they're
Yeah.
not just gonna find another pretty girl and like try to like want to fuck her, you know?
Yeah.
You know that it takes more than that. And I think that's like a really it makes you feel good in a relationship to know that the person you're with is not just so shallow that way. And it takes a little bit away of fear, you know? Because you're like, okay, well, I know that you genuinely need a little bit more. You need something more. You need an attraction. You need like a mental connection. And I think that's also feels really good to be in a relationship with somebody that you don't feel like, oh, like they're just gonna run away to like the next pretty girl, you know?
Yeah.
So I think it's a really good quality to have. But definitely it's like when you first start hearing people say that, you're like, what the fuck? Like
it's weird.
do you like sex?
Yeah.
You know? No, I definitely have appreciated it over time too.
Yeah. Any other last comments?
Nope. I think that's all. I think we should end it on an agreement. I would say it's a rare one. Alessia and Veronica agree. That's the podcast. That's the title of this podcast. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for listening to this week's episode, and stay tuned to be the first to find out when we drop our merch, because we're so excited to release it. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and leave us 5 stars on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
We love you, and yeah.
Kisses.
Kisses.